Up until a couple days ago, I had never heard of the Cole Tool Manufacturing Company, and I'm willing to bet that there's at least two people that watch this video that have never heard of them either. So let me share a few things that I've found about the Cole Tool Manufacturing Company. The first thing is there's not a lot of information on them, and so it wasn't a very big company. And from what I can tell, they only produced one thing, and that was the Cole Tool Manufacturing Company Vise number 11. And whenever they sold them, they also came out with a detachable drill, and that was number 7. I have no idea what happened to the rest of the numbers, and I couldn't tell what those numbers signified. The other thing is, interestingly enough, Pinterest has a lot of good pictures and information on them, and they didn't even make them into a bathroom sink, or they didn't strap them onto a pallet and make them into a bed frame or anything. So if you want some more information, you can look on Pinterest, but it's mostly just pictures of them. I also found on some forums that had some information, but the best one was on the Vintage Machinery forum, and a guy named Jeff did a lot of good research, mainly about the guy who started this company. And so Jeff found 2 scanned copies on the internet of the catalog, but there weren't dates on it, and they were guessing that they were from the 40s or 50s. The business was owned by Harold Eugene Cole, and he lived from 1909 until 1984, and he retired from the company in 1979. They found some ads in a newspaper in 1940 for the Cole portable vise and drill, but there wasn't a price. After World War II, advertising started again, and in 1951 there was an ad set at the price of $55. There was another ad in 1976, and that price was $239.50, and it was sold at Napa Auto Parts. And then in 1980 there was an ad for one on sale, and it sold for $150. So I don't know if the value went down or if they changed something in manufacturing that made them a little bit cheaper, but the price definitely went down. In the casting, there are 2 cities, so where the company was from. One of them was St. Anne, Illinois, and the other one is Chicago Heights, Illinois. And I haven't looked at a map, but I'm willing to bet that those are both suburbs of Chicago, and so they're probably the same place. From what I can tell, you can get these in 2 colors. Green is the most common, but I've also seen some in red. Their marketing was more towards the pipe fitting industry, whether it be oil and gas or plumbing. And so that's mainly what these Vise were used for. If you're trying to buy one, you can find them on eBay all day long, and the prices range from just a few dollars to a couple $100. But it seems like people only want to collect the ones that have the drill with them. And so from what I can tell, they're not very valuable and they're not real rare. And so if you have one, you might as well just use it, and you don't need to try to keep it in pristine shape. So I plan on using mine just like it was intended. Not going to baby it at all. Some people were saying that they were marketed towards blacksmith as a blacksmith vise. Just looking at it, it doesn't seem like a blacksmith vise to me, because usually a blacksmith vise has some kind of leg to support it, so that way if you're hammering on it or twisting things or beating it up, it's a little bit more sturdy. And this one seems sturdy enough. It just doesn't seem like the casting would hold up for some heavy use like that. If you have any additional information, something that I missed, let me know, because I'm curious about the coal tool manufacturing company, but there wasn't a lot of information for me to find on the internet. I just got done explaining to you all about coal vices and coal manufacturing in Chicago, Illinois, but a little misleading. I don't think that this is a coal vice. A few little differences that I've noticed. This one doesn't say coal vice on it, which would have been a dead giveaway. And also the anvil on the back here, it looks like the coal vices, most of them go all the way through the back here, and there's a little horn on it. So either this is a later model, like into the 70s or 80s or something, or this is just a knockoff. It might be a Chinese knockoff. So if you have any insight on that, let me know, because I'm curious. I just couldn't find anything online. Whenever I found this, it was in the kind of in the floor in a barn, in this barn that I'm in right now, but it had been flooded a few years ago, and so it was covered in mud and dirt. And so I thought it was going to be like a restoration job on it, and turns out all I pretty much did was clean it up and paint it. So it wasn't really a restoration. Something that's interesting about these is they turn, and you see there's a hole right here, and it's tapered. And before, I didn't even realize that this piece was here. And so I had an idea of something to do, and I thought it was a leg vise. Went in there. But really what it's for is you can take this piece off, and it turns it into a giant pipe wrench, and you get a cheater bar, and so you clamp down on your pipe, and you run this in there, and you crank down on it. And I guess it would work. But I have an idea, and I think it's going to be a bad idea, but I'm going to make a hardy, like a tapered hardy attachment, so this can just slip on for a vise or for your anvil. I honestly think it's a terrible idea, but I'm going to try it anyways. And so now that this is done, I just threw it on this stand that I had laying around. Really, it'd be better on like a wood stand, but I'm going to make that hardy real quick, and we'll see how that turns out. Hey Chad. Just as I expected, this was a terrible idea. This thing's bigger than my little anvil. But let's try it out. Just as I expected, this was a terrible idea. I could have done a better job, you know, I could have taken more time, but it just kind of gets in the way. Definitely the stand is your best option. The good thing is this just comes off and you can slip it in just like that. But if you're in a bind and you need to make a rebar Q-tip holder twisted, it works just fine.